Start up here on yearbooks. The yearbooks have arrived. Everyone seems to understand this ritual but me. You hunt down a person who looks vaguely familiar and get them to write in your yearbook that the two of you were best friends and you'll never forget each other. And remember, blank class, fill in the blank, and have a great summer, stay sweet. I watched some kids ask the cafeteria ladies to sign their books. What do they write? Hope your chicken patties never bleed? Or maybe, may your jello always wiggle? The cheerleaders have obtained some sort of special exemption to roam the halls in a pack with pens in hand to seek out autographs from staff and students. I catch a whiff of competitive juices when they float past me. They are counting signatures. The appearance of the yearbook clears up another high school mystery, why all the popular girls put up with the disgusting habits of Todd Ryder. He's a pig, greasy, sleazy, foul-mouthed, and unwashed. He'll make a great addition to the state college fraternity, but the popular kids kissed up to him all year. Why? Todd Ryder is the yearbook photographer. Flip through all the pages and you'll see who's in his favor. Be nice to Todd and he'll take pictures of you that should have a modeling agency calling your house any day now. Snub Todd and you'll look like trailer park refugee having a bad hair day. If I ran a high school, I would include stuff like this on the first day indoctrination. I hadn't noticed the power of Todd. He snapped one picture of me walking away from the camera, wearing a dumpy winter coat, my shoulders up around my ears. I will not be buying a yearbook. Hairwoman no more. Hairwoman got a buzz cut. Her hair is half an inch long, a new crop of head fur, short and spiky. It's black. No fake orange at all, and she got new glasses, purple-rimmed bifocals that hang from a beaded chain. I don't know what caused this. Has she fallen in love? Did she get a divorce? Move out of her parents' basement? You never think about teachers having parents, but they must. Some kids say she did it to confuse us while we were all working on our final essay. I'm not sure. We have a choice. We can write about symbolism in comics or how story changed my life. I think something else is going on. I'm thinking she found a good shrink, or maybe she just published that novel she's been writing since the earth cooled. I wonder if she'll be teaching summer school. A little writing on the wall. Ivy is sitting at the art table with 4 uncapped colored markers sticking out of her bun. I stand up, she turns her head, and bingo, I've got a rainbow on my shirt. She apologizes 100 million times. If it were anyone else, I would figure they did it on purpose, but Ivy and me have been sort of friendly the last few weeks. I don't think she was trying to be mean. Mr. Freeman lets me go to the bathroom where I try to scrub out the stains. I must look like a dog chasing its tail, twisting and twirling, trying to see the stains in the back in the mirror. The door swings open. It's Ivy. I raise my hand as she opens her mouth. Don't say it anymore. I know you're sorry. It was an accident. She points to the pin still stuck in her bun. I put the caps back on. Mr. Freeman made me. And then he sent me in here to see how you're doing. He's worried about me? He wanted to make sure you didn't pull a disappearing act. You have been wandering off. Not in the middle of class. There's a first time for everything. Go in the stall and hand over your shirt. You can't wash it while you're wearing it. Oh my gosh. Oh wait. Never mind. 173. Here we go. I think Mr. Principal should have his office in the restroom. Maybe then he'd hire somebody to keep it clean or an armed guard to stop people from plugging up the toilet, smoking, or writing on the walls. Who's Alexandria, I say? Now let me pause here, class. So this is like, as you know, graffiti. So these days you're not going to see a lot of graffiti because people put stuff on their social media page or they, I guess, post it on Instagram. I don't know. I don't get all social media since I'm not on it. But if you want to say stuff, you could just say it on there, is my understanding. But back in my day, back when this book was written, kids used to, or you'd see stuff like written on the bathroom stall or something like that. Usually it was dirty, but that's what they're talking about here with this part that I'm about to read. It's like Graffiti, but it's where like kids keep adding onto it or whatever. Who is Alexandria, I ask. I don't know any Alexandrias, Ivy's voice says above the rush of water in the sink. There might be an Alexandria in 10th grade. Why? Well, according to this, she has pissed off a whole bunch of people. One person wrote in huge letters that she's a whore, and all these others added little details. She slept with this guy, slept with that guy. She slept with those guys all at the same time. For a 10th grader, sure does get around. Ivy doesn't answer. I peer through the crack between the door and the wall. She opens the soap container and dips my shirt in it, and then scrubs the stains. I shiver. I'm standing in my bra, not a terribly clean bra, and it's freezing in here. Ivy holds the shirt up to the light, frowns, and scrubs once more. I want to take a deep breath, but it smells too bad. Remember what you said about Andy Evans being in big trouble? Yeah. Why'd you say that? She rinses the soap from the shirt. He has such a reputation. He's only after one thing, and if you believe the rumors, he'll get it no matter what. She wrings the water out of her shirt. The sound of dripping water echoes off the tiles. Rachel's going out with him, I say. I know. Just add that to the list of stupid things she's done this year. What does she say about him? We don't really talk, I say. She's a bitch. That's what you mean. She thinks she's too good for the rest of us. Ivy punches the silver button on the hand dryer and holds up the shirt. I reread the graffiti. I love Derek. Mr. Neck bites. I hate this place. Syracuse rocks. Syracuse sucks. Lists of hotties. Lists of jerks. List of ski resorts in Colorado everyone dreams about. Phone numbers that have been scratched out with keys. Entire conversations scroll down the bathroom stall. It's like a community chat room, a metal newspaper. I ask Ivy to hand over one of her pens. She does. I think you're going to have to bleach this thing, she says, and hands over the shirt as well, and I pull it over my head. It's still damp. What did you want that marker for? I hold the cap in my teeth. I start another subject thread on the wall. Guys to stay away from. The first entry is the beast himself, Andy Evans. I swing open the door with a flourish. Ta-da! I point to my handiwork. Ivy grins. Prom preparation. The climax of mating season is upon us. The senior prom. They should cancel school this week. The only things we're learning is about who is going with who. Whom? Must ask hairwoman. Who bought a dress in Manhattan? Which limo company won't tell if you drink? The most expensive tux place, and on and on. The gossip energy alone could power the building's electricity for the rest of the marking period. The teachers are pissed. Kids aren't handing in homework because they have appointments at the tanning salon. Andy Beast asked Rachel to go with him. I can't believe her mother's letting her go, but maybe they agreed because they're going to double with Rachel's brother and his date. Rachel's one of her rare 9th graders who gets invited to senior prom. Her social stock has soared. She must not have gotten my note, or maybe she decided to ignore it. Maybe she showed it to Andy and they had a good laugh. Maybe she won't get into trouble like I did. Maybe he'll listen to her. Maybe I better stop thinking about it before I go nuts. Heather has come belly crawling for help. Her mother can't believe it. My mother can't believe it. Breathing friend right on her porch in front of her. Maladjusted daughter. I pry Heather out of Mom's claws and we retreat to my room. My stuffed rabbits crawl out of their burrows, nose a-wiggling, pink bunny, purple bunny, gingham bunny from my grandma. They are as excited as my mother, company. I can see the room through Heather's green-tinted contacts. She doesn't say anything, but I know she thinks it looks stupid. A baby room, all those toy rabbits. There must be 100 of them. Mom knocks on the door. She has cookies for us. I want to ask if she's feeling sick. I hand the bag to Heather. She takes one cookie and nibbles at its edges. I snarf 5 just to spite her. I lie on my bed, trapping the bunnies next to the wall. Heather delicately pushes a pile of dirty clothes off my chair and perches her skinny butt on it. I wait. She launches into a sob story about how she hates being on Martha Drone. Indentured servitude would be better. They are just taking advantage of her, bossing her around. Her grades are all the way down to B's because of the time she has to spend waiting on her senior Marthas. Her father is thinking about taking a job in Dallas, and she wouldn't mind moving again. Nope, not one bit. Because she's heard that kids in the South aren't as stuck up as they are here. I eat more cookies. I'm fighting the shock of having a guest in my room. I almost kick her out because it's going to hurt too much when my room is empty again. Heather says I was smart, so smart, Mel, to blow off this stupid group. This whole year's been horrible. I hated every single day, but I didn't have the guts to get out like you did. She completely ignores the fact that I was never in, and that she dumped me, banished me from the shadows of Martha Glory. I feel like any minute a guy in a lavender suit will burst into the room in the microphone and bellow, "Another alternate reality moment brought to you by adolescence." I still can't figure out why she's here. She licks a crumb off her cookie and gets to the point. She and the other junior Marthas are required to decorate the Route 11 Holiday Inn ballroom for the prom. Meg and Emily and Siobhan can't assist, of course. They have to get their nails painted and their teeth whitened. The privileged, the few, the junior Marthas, have been laid waste by mononucleosis, leaving Heather all by herself. She's desperate. Me, you have to decorate the whole thing by Saturday night? Heather, actually, we can't start until 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon because of some stupid meeting of the Chrysler salesman, but I know we can do it. I'm asking other kids, too. Do you know anyone who could help? Frankly, no, I don't, but I chew and I try to look thoughtful. Heather takes this to mean yes. I'd be happy to help her. She bounces in her chair. Heather, I knew you would help. You're great. Tell you what, I owe you a big one. How about next week I come over and help you redecorate? Me. Heather, didn't you tell me once how much you hated your room? Well, now I see why. It would be so depressing just to wake up here every morning. We'll clear out all this junk. She kicks a Chanel bunny who was sleeping on my robe onto the floor and get rid of those curtains. And maybe you could go shopping with me. Can you get your mom's American Express? She yanks my curtains to one side. Let's not forget to wash those windows. Seafoam green and sage. That's what you should look for. Classic and feminine. Me. No. Heather, you want something richer, like an eggplant or cobalt? Me. No, I haven't decided on colors yet, and that's not what I mean. No, I won't help you. She collapses into the chair. You have to help me. Me. No, I don't. Heather, but why? I bite my lip. Does she really want to know the truth? That she's a self-centered and cold? That I hope all the seniors yell at her? That I hate seafoam green, and besides, it's none of her business if my windows are dirty? I feel tiny button noses against my back. Bunnies say to be kind. Lie. Me, I have plans. The tree guy's coming to work on the oak out front, and I have to dig in my garden. And besides, I know what I want to do in here, and it does not include eggplant. Most of it's half true, half planned. Heather scowls. I open the dirty window to let in fresh air.
6 hour is now over. Please head to your 6-hour class. Thank you.
It brushes my hair back off my face. I tell Heather she has to leave. I need to clean. She crams her cookie in her mouth and does not say goodbye to my mother. What a snot. Communication 101. I'm on a roll. I'm rocking. I don't know what it is. Standing up to Heather, planting marigold seeds, or maybe the look on my mom's face when I asked if she would let me redecorate my room. The time has come to arm wrestle with some demons. Too much sun after a Syracuse winter does strange things to your head. Makes you feel strong even if you aren't. I must talk to Rachel. I can't do it in algebra. The beast waits for her outside in English, but we have study hall at the same time. Bingo. I find her squinting at a book with small type in the library. She's too vain for glasses. I instruct my heart not to bolt down the hall and sit down next to her. No nuclear bombs detonate. That's a good start. She looks at me without expression. I try on a smile, size medium. Hey, I say. She responds. No lip curling, no rude hand gestures. So far, so good. I look at the book she's copying word for word from. It's about France. Me. Homework? Rachel, kind of. She taps her pencil on the table. I'm going to France this summer with the International Club, and we have to do a report to prove we're serious. Me, that's great. I mean, you've always talked about traveling ever since we were kids. Remember when we were in the 4th grade and we read Heidi and we tried to melt cheese in your fireplace? We laugh a little too loudly. It's not really that funny, but we're both nervous. A librarian points a finger at us. Bad students, bad students, no laughing. I look at her notes. They're lousy. A few facts about Paris, decorated with the Eiffel Tower doodle, hearts, and the initials RB plus AE, CAC. Me, so you're really going out with him? With Andy? I heard about the prom. Rachel grins, honey slow, stretches. Like the mention of his name awakens her muscles and makes her tummy jump. He's great, she says. He's just so awesome and gorgeous and yummy. She stops. She is talking to the village leper. Me, what are you going to do when he goes to college? An arrow in a soft spot. Clouds cross the sun. I can't think about that. It hurts too much. He said he was going to get his parents to let him transfer back here. He could go to LaSalle or Syracuse. I'll wait for him. Give me a break. Me, you've been going out for 2 weeks? 3? A cold front blows across the library. She straightens up, snaps shut the cover of her notebook. Rachel, what do you want anyway? Before I can answer, the librarian pounces. We are welcome to continue our conversation in the principal's office, or we can stay and be quiet. Our choice. I take out my notebook and I write to Rachel. It's nice to talk to you again. I'm sorry we couldn't be friends this year. I pass the notebook to her and she melts a bit around the edges and writes back. Yeah, I know. So who do you like? No one really. My lab partner's kind of nice, but friend, not a boyfriend or anything. She nods wisely. She's dating a senior. She's so beyond these freshman friend relationships. She's in charge again. Time for me to suck up. Are you still mad at me? I write. She doodles a quick lightning bolt. No, I guess not. It was a long time ago. She stops and draws a spiraling circle. I stand on the edge and wonder if I'm going to fall in. The party was a little wild, she continues, but it was dumb to call the cops. We could have just left. She slides the notebook over to me. I draw a spiraling circle in the opposite direction of Rachel's. I could leave it like this, stop in the middle of the highway. She's talking to me again. All I have to do is keep the dirt hidden and walk arm in arm with her into the sunset. She reaches back to fix her hair scrunchie. RB plus AE is written in red pen on the inside of her forearm. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3. I force my hand to relax. I didn't call the cops to break up the party, I write. I called. I put the pencil down. I pick it up again. I called them because some guy raped me under the trees. I didn't know what to do. She watches as I carve out the words. She leans closer to me. I write more. I was stupid and drunk and I didn't know what was happening, and then he hurt. I scribble that out. Raped me. When the police came, everyone was screaming and I was just so scared I cut through some backyards and I walked home. I push the notebook back to her. She stares at the words. She pulls her hair around the side of her table. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, she writes. Why didn't you tell me? I couldn't tell anybody. Does your mom know? I shake my head. Tears pop up in some hidden spring. Damn. I sniff and I wipe my eyes on my sleeve. Did you get pregnant? Did he have a disease? Oh my God, are you okay? No, I don't think so. Yes, I'm okay. Well, kinda. Rachel writes in a heavy... Rachel writes in a heavy, fast hand. Who did it? I turn the page. Andy Evans. Liar! She screams and stumbles out of her chair, grabs her books off the table. I can't believe you. You're jealous. You're a twisted little freak, and you're jealous that I'm popular and I'm going to prom, so you lie to me like this? You sent me that note, didn't you? You're so sick. She spins to take on the librarian. I'm going to the nurse, she states. I think I'm going to throw up. Through the conversation with, there we go, chat room. I'm standing in the lobby looking at the buses. I don't want to go home, and I don't want to stay here. I got my hopes up halfway through the conversation with Rachel. That was my mistake. It was like smelling the perfect Christmas feast and having the door slammed in your face, leaving you alone in the cold. Melinda, I hear my name. Great, now I'm hearing things. Maybe I should just get the guidance counselor for a therapist or a nosy shrink. I don't say anything and I feel awful. I tell somebody and I feel worse. I'm having trouble finding the middle ground. Someone touches my arm gently. Melinda? It's Ivy. Can you take the late bus? I want to show you something. We walk together. She leads me to the bathroom, the one where she washed my shirt, which, by the way, still has traces of her markers, even after the bleach. She points to the stall. Take a look. Guys to stay away from. Andy Evans. He's a creep. He's a bastard. Stay away. He should be locked up. He thinks he's all that. Call the cops. What is the name of that drug they give perverts so they can't get it up? Dippo something? He should get it every morning in his orange juice. I went out with him to the movies and he tried to get his hands down my pants during the previews. There's more. Different pens, different handwriting, conversations between some writers, arrows to longer paragraphs. It's better than taking out a billboard. I feel like I can fly. Pruning. I wake up the next morning, Saturday. It's the sound of a chainsaw, the noise biting right through my ears and splintering my plans of sleeping in. I peer out the window. The arborist, the tree guys the dad called to trim the dead oak branches, stand at the base of the tree. One guy's revving up his chainsaw like it's a sports car. The other giving the tree the once-over. I go downstairs for breakfast. Watching cartoons is out of the question, so I make a cup of tea and join Dad and a group of neighborhood kids watching the show from the driveway. The arborist monkeys his way into the pale green canopy, then hauls up the chainsaw, turned off, at the end of a thick rope. He sets to work pruning the dead wood like a sculptor. Brow! The chainsaw gnaws through the oak branches, crashing to the ground. The air swirls with sawdust. Sap oozes from the open sores in the trunk. He's killing the tree. He'll only leave a stump. The tree is dying. There is nothing we can do or say. We watch in silence as the tree crashes piece by piece to the damp ground. The chainsaw murderer swings down with a grin. He doesn't even care. A kid asks my father why that man is chopping down the tree. Dad, he's not chopping it down. He's saving it. Those branches were long dead from the disease. All plants are like that. By cutting off the damage, you make it possible for the tree to grow again. You watch. By the end of the summer, this tree will be the strongest on the block. I hate it when my father pretends to know more than he does. He sells insurance. He's not a forest ranger, wise in the ways of the woods. The arborist fires up the mulcher on the back of their truck. I've seen enough. I grab my bike and I take off. The first stop is the gas station to pump my tires. I can't remember the last time I rode. The morning is warm, a lazy, slow Saturday. The parking lot at the grocery store is full. A couple of softball games are being played behind the elementary school, but I don't stop to watch. I ride up the hill, past Rachel's house, past the high school. The downside is fast, easy coast. I dare myself to lift my hands off the handlebars. As long as I'm moving fast enough, the front wheel holds steady, and I turn left and left again, following the hills down without realizing where I'm heading. Some part of me has planned this, a devious internal compass pointed to the past. The lane isn't familiar until I glimpse the barn. I squeeze the brakes hard and struggle to control the bike on the gravel shoulder. A wind rips through the phone wires overhead. A squirrel fights to retain her balance. There are no cars in the driveway. Rogers is painted on the mailbox. A basketball hoop hangs off the side of the barn. I don't remember that, but it would have been dark to it would have been hard to see it in the dark. I walk my bike back along the edge of the property, to where the trees swallow the sun. My bike leans into a collapsing fence, and I sink to the shade-cold ground. My heart thuds as if I were still pedaling uphill. My hands shake. It's a completely normal place, out of sight of the barn and house, and close enough to the road where I can hear the cars passing. Fragments of acorn shells litter the ground. You could bring a kindergartner class here for a picnic. I think about lying down. No, that would not do. I crouch by the trunk, my fingers stroking the bark, seeing a braille code, a clue, a message on how to come back to life after my long under snow dormancy. I have survived. I am here. Confused, screwed up, but here, so how can I find my way? Is there a chainsaw for the soul? An axe I can take to my memories or my fears? I dig my fingers into the dirt and squeeze. A small, clean part of me waits to warm and bursts through the surface. Some quiet Melinda girl I haven't seen in months. That is the seed I will care for. So she just went back to the place where she was raped. Okay, that's what that was. Prowling. When I get home, it's time for lunch. I make 2 egg salad sandwiches and drink an enormous glass of milk. I eat an apple and put my dishes in the dishwasher. It's only 1 o'clock. I suppose I should clean the kitchen and vacuum, but the windows are open and the robins sing on the front lawn, where a pile of mulch has my name waiting. Mom is impressed when she drives up at dinner time. The front lawn is raked, the edged, mowed, and the bushes are mulched. I'm not even breathing hard. Mom helps me carry in a plastic deck furniture from the basement, and I scrub it with bleach. Dad brings home some pizza, and we eat it on the deck. Mom and Dad drink iced tea, and there's no biting or snarling. I clear the dishes and throw the pizza box in the trash. I lie down on the couch to watch TV, but my eyes close and I'm out. When I wake up, it's past midnight, and someone has covered me with an Afghan blanket. The house is quiet, dark. A cool breeze slides between the curtains. I'm wide awake. I feel itchy inside my skin, antsy. That's what my mother would call it. I can't sit still. I have to do something. My bike is still leaning against the prune tree in the front yard. I ride. Up and down, across, diagonal. I pedal my sore legs through the streets of a suburb mostly sleeping. Some late-night TVs flicker from bedroom windows. A few cars are parked in front of the grocery store. I imagine people mopping the floors, restacking loaves of bread. I coast by the houses of the people I used to know. Heather, Nicole. I turn in the corner, downshift, and pedal harder up the hill to Rachel's house. The lights are on. Her parents are waiting for the ferry prom goers to come home. I could knock on the door and ask him if they want to play cards or something. Nah. I ride like I have wings. I'm not tired. I don't think I'll ever have to sleep again. Post-prom. By Monday morning, the prom is a legend. The drama, the tears, the passion. Why hasn't anyone made a television show out of this yet? The total damage included 1 stomach pumped, 3 breakups of long-term relationships, 1 lost diamond earring, 4 outrageous hotel room parties, 5 matching tattoos allegedly decorating the behinds of the senior class officers. The guidance counselors are celebrating the lack of fatal accidents. Heather's not at school today. Everybody's griping about her lame decorations. I bet she calls in sick the rest of the year. Heather should run away and join the Marines immediately. They'll be much sweeter to her than a swarm of angry Marthas. Rachel's in her glory. She ditched Andy in the middle of the prom. I'm trying to piece the story together from the grapevine gossip. They say she and Andy argued during a slow song. They say he was all over her with his hands in his mouth. And while they danced, he was grinding against her, and she backed off. The song ended and she swore at him. They say she was ready to slap him, but she didn't. He looked around all innocent-like, and then she stomped over to the exchange buddies. Ended up dancing away the night away with a kid from Portugal. They say Andy's really pissed off ever since. He got wicked drunk at a party and passed out in a bowl of bean dip. Rachel burned everything he gave her and left the ashes in front of his locker. His friends laughed at him. Except for the gossip, there's no real point in coming to school. Well, there are final exams, but it's not like they're going to make any difference in my grades. We have, 2 more weeks of classes? Sometimes I think high school is one long hazing activity. If you're tough enough to survive this, then they'll let you become an adult. I hope it's worth it. Pray. I'm waiting for the clock to end, the daily torture by algebra session, then whammo, a thought slams into my head. I don't want to hang out in my little hidey hole anymore. I look behind me, half expecting to see a sniggering back row guy who's beamed me in the head with an eraser. Nope. The back row is struggling to stay awake. It was definitely an idea that hit me. I don't feel like hiding anymore. A breeze from the open window blows my hair back and tickles my shoulders. This is the first day warm enough for the sleeveless shirt. Feels like summer. After class, I trail behind Rachel. Andy is waiting for her. She won't even look at him. The kid from Portugal is now Rachel's numero uno. Ha! Double ha! Serves you right, you scum. Kids stare at Andy, but nobody stops to talk. He follows Greta, Ingrid, and Rachel down the hall. I'm a few steps behind them. Greta Ingrid spins around and tells Andy exactly what he should do to himself. Impressive. Her language skills have really improved this year. I'm ready to do a victory dance. I head for my closet after school. I want to take the poster of Maya Angelou home. I'd like to keep some of my tree pictures and my turkey bone sculpture. The rest of the stuff can stay, as long as it doesn't have my name on it. Who knows, some other kid may need a safe place to run to next year. I haven't been able to get rid of the smell. I leave the door cracked open a bit so I can breathe. It's hard to get the tree pictures off the wall without tearing them. The day is getting hotter and there's no circulation in here. I open the door wider. Who's going to come by now? By this point of the year, all the teachers take off faster than the students when the final bell rings. The only people left are a few teams scattered on the practice fields. I don't know what to do with the comforter. It's really too ratty to take home. I should have gone to my locker first and gotten my backpack. I forgot about all the books that are in here. I fold the comforter and set it on the floor and turn out the light. And I head out the door from my locker and somebody slams into my chest and knocks me back into the closet. The light flicks on and the door closes. I'm trapped with Andy Evans. He stares at me without talking. He is not as tall as my memories, but still loathsome. The light bulb throws shadows under his eyes. He is made out of the slabs and stones and gives off a smell that makes me afraid I'll wet my pants. He cracks his knuckles. His hands are enormous. Andy Beast, you have a big mouth. You know that? Rachel blew me off at the prom, giving me some bullshit story about how I raped you. You know that's a lie. I never raped anybody. I don't have to. You wanted it just as bad as I did, but your feelings got hurt, so you started spreading lies.
6th hour is now over. Please report to your 7th hour class. Thank you.
And now every girl in school is talking about me like I'm some kind of pervert. You've been spreading that bullshit story for 2 weeks. What's wrong, ugly? You jealous? Can't get a date? The words fall like nails on the floor, hard and pointed. I try to walk around him and he blocks my way. Oh no, you're not going anywhere. You really screwed things up for me. He reaches behind me and locks the door. Click. Me. You're one strange bitch. You know that? A freak. I can't believe anyone listened to you. He grabs my wrists and tries to pull them back and he squeezes it so tight I feel like my bones are splintering. He pins me against the closed door. Maya Angelou looks at me. She tells me to make some noise. I open my mouth to take a deep breath. Beast, you're not going to scream. You didn't scream before. You liked it. You're jealous that I took out your friend and not you. I think I know what you want. His mouth is in my face. I twist my head. His lips are wet. His teeth knock against my cheekbones. I pull my arms again. He slams his body against mine. I have no legs. My heart is wobbling. My teeth are on my neck. The only sound I can make is a whimper. He fumbles to hold both my wrists in one hand. He wants a free hand. I remember, metal hands, knife-hot hands. No. A sound explodes from me. No! I followed the sound, pushing off the wall, pushing Andy Evans off balance. I stumble into the broken sink. He curses and turns, his fist coming, an explosion in my head and blood in my mouth. He hit me. I scream and scream. Why aren't the walls falling? I'm screaming loud enough to make the whole school crumble. I grab for anything, my potpourri bowl. I throw it at him. It bounces to the floor. My books, he swears again. The door is locked. He grabs me, pulls me away from the door, one hand over my mouth, one hand around my throat. He leans me against the sink. My fists mean nothing to him, little rabbit paws thumping harmlessly. His body crushes me. My fingers wave overhead, looking for a branch, a limb, something to hang on to. A block of wood, the base of my turkey bone sculpture. I slam it against Maya's poster. I hear it crunch. It doesn't hear it. It breathes like a dragon. Its hand leaves my throat, attacks my body. I hit the wood against the poster and the mirror under it again. Shards of glass slip down the wall and into the sink. It pulls away from me, puzzled. I reach in, wrap my fingers around a triangle of glass, and I hold it to Andy Evans' neck. He freezes. I push just hard enough to raise one drop of blood. He raises his arms over his head. My hand quivers. I want to insert the glass all the way through his throat. I want to hear him scream. I look up. I see the stubble on his chin, a fleck of white in the corner of his mouth. His lips are paralyzed. He cannot speak. That's good enough. Me. I said no. He nods. Someone's pounding at the door. I unlock it. The door swings open. Nicole is there, along with the lacrosse team. Sweaty, angry, their sticks held high. Someone peels off, runs for help. Final cut. Mr. Freeman is refusing to hand his grades in on time. They should have been in 4 days before the end of school, but he didn't see the sense in that, so I'm staying after school on the very, very last day for one last try to get my tree right. Mr. Freeman is covering the grade wall with a mural. He hasn't touched the line with my name, but he eliminated everything else with a roller brush and a fast-drying white paint. He hums as he mixes colors on a palette. He waits to paint a sunrise. Summer vacation voices bubble through the open window. School's nearly over. The hall echoes with slamming lockers and shrinks of, "I'm gonna miss you, got my number?" I turn up the radio. My tree is definitely breathing, little shallow breaths, like it just shot up through the ground this morning. This one is not perfectly symmetrical. The bark is rough. I try to make it look as if my initials had been carved in it a long time ago. One of the lower branches is sick. If this tree really lives someplace, that branch better drop soon, so it doesn't kill the whole thing. Roots knob out of the ground, and the crown reaches for the sun, tall and healthy. New growth is the best part. Lilac flows through the open windows and a few lazy bees. I carve and Mr. Freeman mixes orange and red
Students to be in their 7th hour. Thank you.
to get the shade of sunrise. Tires squeal out of the parking lot. Another sober student farewell. I'm staring summer school in the face, so there's no real hurry, but I want to finish this tree. A couple of seniors stroll in. Mr. Freeman hugs them carefully, either because of the paint on him or because teachers hugging students can make for big trouble. I shake my bangs down in front of my face and watch through my hair. They chat about New York City, where the girls are going to college. Mr. Freeman writes down some phone numbers and names of restaurants. He says he has plenty of friends in Manhattan and that they should meet for brunch some Sunday. The girls, the women, hop up and down and squeal. I can't believe it's really happening. One of them is Amber Cheerleader. Go figure. The girls look my way before they leave. One girl, not the cheerleader, nods her head and says, "Way to go. I hope you're okay." With a few hours left in the school year, I've suddenly become popular. Thanks to the big mouths on the lacrosse team, everyone knew what had happened before sundown. Mom took me to the hospital to stitch up the cut in my hand. When we got home, there was a message on the machine from Rachel. She wants me to call her. My tree needs something. I walk over to the desk and take a piece of brown paper and a finger of chalk. Mr. Freeman talks about art galleries, and I practice birds. Little dashes of color on the paper. It's awkward with the bandage on my hand, but I keep trying, and I draw them without thinking. Flight, 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 wing. Water drips on the paper, and the birds bloom in the light, their feathers expanding promise. It happened. There's no avoiding it, no forgetting, no running away, or flying, or burying, or hiding. Andy Evans raped me in August when I was drunk and too young to know what was happening. It wasn't my fault. He hurt me. It wasn't my fault, and I'm not going to let it kill me. I can grow. I took my homely sketch. It doesn't need anything. Even though through the river in my eyes, I can see it. It isn't perfect, and that makes it just right. The last bell rings. Mr. Freeman comes to my table. Mr. Freeman, time's up, Melinda. Are you ready? I hand over the picture. He takes it in his hands and studies it. I sniff again and wipe my eyes on my arm. The bruises are vivid, but they will fade. Mr. Freeman, no crying in my studio. Ruins the supplies. Salt, saline, etches like acid. He sits on the stool next to me and hands back my tree. You get an A+. You worked hard at this. And he hands me a box of tissues. You've been through a lot, haven't you? The tears dissolve the last block of ice in my throat, and I feel the frozen stillness melt through the inside of me, dripping shards of ice that vanish in a puddle of sunlight on the stained floor. Words float up. Me. Let me tell you about it.